It seems the impact of coronavirus has proved too much for a retailer that was already struggling with the shift to online shopping. A third of the workforce was cut after administrators were appointed in April. Now the remaining staff are set to lose their jobs when the chain's 124 stores cease trading. The news comes just one day after Topshop owners, the Arcadia Group, went into administration, putting 13,000 jobs at risk.
Non-essential shops are reopening in Belgium after a month's closure. Restaurants, bars, cafes and gyms are remaining closed until the new year. It comes as Belgium's coronavirus figures continue to improve, as Lucy Hoff reports from Brussels.
There were queues outside many major high street stores in Brussels on the morning that non-essential shops reopened their doors. But there are strict new measures in place to ensure the reopening happens safely. People have to shop alone and can only stay inside a store for 30 minutes. Social distancing must be observed at all times. The hospitality sector will remain closed the middle of January, but hospital admissions in Belgium had fallen to 120 per day, the lowest rate since October.
Organisers of the Tokyo Olympics say COVID-19 countermeasures will cost an additional $960 million as the price tag of the postponed games continues to climb. So far, delaying the Olympics has already added $1.9 billion to the stretched budget. Emmy O'Connor reports from Tokyo.
The additional costs will go towards setting up healthcare infrastructure, including a coronavirus testing system for the games, as well as procuring equipment necessary to prevent infection. The games were expected to cost $13 billion before they were postponed in March and were meant to be held in a cost-effective manner. There are also additional operating costs, such as expenses related to securing games venues, equipment rental, storage fees, and labor costs. The organizing committee is hoping to raise funds through additional contributions from sponsors and from insurance damage claims.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So Mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The Storks are bringing me a baby brother! We can do this together!
All right, let's go!
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this! You will rock this!
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious.
And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Tuesday, December 1st. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. Tony, no Xfinity issues today, and it looks like you were up early, already hit up the gym, and good to go for today's show.
Good to go. Now, I can't promise you there won't be Xfinity issues because that happened after the initial segment yesterday.
That's right.
Although it did make for a good sound clip. Like, I didn't have time to go back and watch the show yesterday, but for our sound clip on like our social media pages to get you guys to tune into the episode after it's post done, if you didn't catch it live, it was like the perfect sound clip. Like, eat, because I didn't hear that on my side. I didn't hear any of that. I was just me throwing a temper tantrum. So it caught well, and I did really good about not cussing. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, you guys got to hear Digital Tony getting frustrated, but it was funny.
It was pretty good. You know, it actually might be one of those. Maybe you just played it as a best of, because now it'll be like if this was a Friends episode. It would have been like the one where Xfinity ruined the day or something. Right. Yeah, it turned out to be a great episode after we got back things going. But as far as experiencing that today, hopefully not.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Up, refreshed, we're ready to roll. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I had a great day yesterday. It is Tuesday, but it's been fun putting the show together during the week that we were off because there's so many articles and ideas that came out that, there are times where it's a little bit tough to find topics. Not the case this week. So I'm excited about that. And let's go ahead and kick things off the way we do each and every show with a question for my co-host. Tony, we know you are our resident bachelor. When it comes to finding a mate who is compatible, obviously looks aren't everything, but what is your stance on plastic surgery? Are you looking for somebody with absolutely none, a little bit's okay, or are you looking for full-on Barbie doll?
Oh, definitely not full-on Barbie doll. I think there is a limit of too much plastic surgery. When you start doing the lips and the face and you start looking like a Muppet, there's some bad stuff. Hey, you want a breast enhancement, reduction, stuff like that, or you want to get a mole removed, things like that, that's fine. I mean, to me, I could see past a lot of that stuff, but when you have an obsession with trying to be the ultimate perfect version of yourself that you see, the more plastic surgery you do, the more damage you do, and it just ends up not being good. So I definitely would not go for the Muppet look. So
That's good. So you're saying too much plastic it just doesn't fly with you.
Doesn't fly, no. But you can enhance what you want to enhance. Like I said, a couple of, as we referred to yesterday, the Hooters, that you enhance those, you decrease them. That's your prerogative. I ain't gonna hate on that.
Fair enough. Well, then you definitely won't be this guy. A bodybuilder has finally married his sex doll after delaying the ceremony for months.
This just took a weird left turn. It's not where I thought you were going to go.
Oh, that's why I like doing this.
You've got my attention. I've taken the hook.
Yuri Talachko from Kazakhstan has been living with Margot for a year and a half and says he popped the question back in December 2019. He first met her at a nightclub, and the pair were due to get married in March this year before the coronavirus pandemic threw the world into turmoil. Yuri earlier told the Daily Star that the ceremony was delayed a second time after he was attacked during a transgender rally in the Kazakh city of Almaty on October 31st. He suffered a concussion and a broken nose after dressing as a woman for the march, posting pictures of his gruesome injuries to Instagram. Well, that's never okay. But however, the pair have finally tied the knot at a ceremony attended by dozens of guests. Sharing footage of the celebration on Instagram, Yuri wrote, "It's happened. To be continued." In the video, Yuri slips a ring onto Margot's finger. before the pair share a tender kiss. They then take the first dance in front of a delighted crowd. Describing the earlier attack, we don't have to describe the attack, but in any case, this guy, Yuri, decided to marry his sex doll, and apparently they're going to live happily ever after. What is she going to do when he, starts out aging her?
What the is going on? That is insanity. You know what I just pictured? Isn't nice? This is me. I'm in Kazakhstan and I like the moving mannequin. This is my wife. I call me Hollywood. What the hell, man? There's your soundbite for the day. Jeez Louise, that's the weirdest thing.
Well,
and people actually encourage this. They're not like, "Yo, Yuri, I don't know if you know, but what was the sex doll's name?
Margot.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Bargo. Dude, she ain't real.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, the dude's got issues.
Well, it goes to show how lonely people are getting during this whole pandemic. So,
hey, I've been single for a year now. Let me tell you something, brother. Not that lonely. Like, it's cool. You can talk to real people, like even if you're not out hanging with them, there is a device called a cell phone. You can message, you can talk to other girls, you can have conversation, and you might not be getting any, ram jammies, but, at the same time, there's no way. Like, you will not be attending a wedding of me and a plastic doll, but that's just, I'd almost take a Muppet over that.
Well, that's good.
And you said he was a bodybuilder to add more salt to the wound with this story?
Yeah, he's actually a good-looking guy. He could probably
this
get
gotta
any
be
number
a
of
joke.
girls.
That can't be for reals, dude.
Who knows? But in any case,
let me tell you something, dude. This is Margot Rago, and she's a big, beefy woman. Yeah, I like it. Tickle me Elmo, huh?
Well, folks, that was just the appetizer of the show that we have for you today. It is a great show. Let's talk about today's show, shall we?
That was Taco Tuesday.
I had my tacos last night and got a lot of crap for it.
Well, that's all right.
Well, I work overnight tonight. Can't do tacos.
That makes sense. On today's
Taco
show,
Bell.
as we do on Tuesdays, we've got Animal Tales, sponsored by roughriders.org. We have a segment called Love Thy Neighbor. Our call-in topic today is further explanation needed. When have you tried to explain something that's just overly complicated to somebody who has no clue what the topic or concept is? We have fresh facts. We'll close out the day with This Day in History, and Tony is up next with the entertainment news. Folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
How to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
The most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message. Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me. But I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m. and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix radio show. It is Tuesday, December 1st. Now we are, I forgot where we were going with the section.
Plastic women named Margot. She's a beautiful broad.
She's so pretty, I got distracted. But
she is. She's the best. She never ages.
We're talking the Fenix Line. Fenix Line is a 24-hour day, 7-day a week voicemail line giving you guys, the listeners and watchers, an opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever. Maybe you are married to a sex doll and you want to tell us all about it. You can. That number, 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We'll compile those together, put them out in a future show. Now, it is the second segment of this show, and you know what that means. Tony's here with the entertainment news.
Good morning, everybody. It's December 1st, 2020, the last month of this wonderful year. Let's roll with the Filippo Fast Five. NBC Universal issues an apology over a Selena Gomez kidney joke in the new Saved by the Bell reboot. The episode is now edited.
Okay.
It's kind of lame. People are so sensitive anymore, but I don't know why anyone thought that'd be a good idea. Anyhow, whatever. Ryan Reynolds says, hard pass on petition to name Vancouver Street after him, which is crazy because he's a big Vancouver guy, but just shows he doesn't need that.
He's humble.
It's not about that. Jay Cutler is literally out here hanging with Shannon Ford, who Kristen Cavallari publicly fired. Fans simply cannot with this thirst for drama. 49ers move home games to Arizona amid Santa Clara County ban on contact sports. So just now call them the Arizona 49ers for a while. And Peyton's Places Season 2 is now streaming on ESPN+. It's a dry day for entertainment stuff. Let's roll to the real entertainment now, baby. Peyton Place is a good show, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
I'm looking forward to this Season 2. So every month, I know with all the streaming services out there, they have this cycling, like they sign deals with shows, movies. They have little contracts with how long they can stream them. Then they disappear. Then they bring new stuff on. Well, Netflix is notorious for this. They have a good platform. Well, if you like to Netflix it out, it is December. So now here's some notable keys that are going to be disappearing from your streaming service. Today's your last day, which is kind of strange that they don't let you watch this the whole month. But Dr. Seuss's The Grinch, today's the last day. So if you want to get your Grinch in, you got till the end of today to watch it. Same with Heartbreakers with Sigourney Weaver and Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yep.
Actually, surprisingly, not a bad little rom-com. Leaving December 4th, Nothing noticeable. I'm not going to tell you the dates, but just throughout the month, here's some things you guys should be finishing up on. If you're a West Wing fan, you're losing that show on Christmas Eve. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is leaving on Christmas Day. Dexter, if you want to get caught up on Dexter, seasons 1 through 8 has been on the streaming service forever. That's leaving December 30th. All the IP Man movies, you want to watch those? Those are leaving. Nurse Jackie is leaving season 1 through 7. I'm sensing a Showtime deal is
sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, Hell on Wheels seasons 1 through 5. All 3 Back to the Futures, Baby Mama, Bad Teacher, Cape Fear, Fargo, and most importantly, The Office. And if you're big, that's going to the Peacock show. You might want to catch that. And then Heart of Dixie, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and lastly, the Indiana Jones trilogy. So if any of those appeal to you, you've been watching those shows like The Office and stuff, bid them adieu because they are leaving soon.
You're saying Heart of Dixie's going?
Heart of Dixie. I know, you're so sad.
I'm so sad.
Was that Rachel Bilson, Mrs. Anakin Skywalker show? My ex-wife used to watch that thing. Oof.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Exactly, Peter.
Terrible.
Another thing that Netflix removed recently was the Chappelle Show, and that was not because of anything controversial. Turns out that Dave Chappelle had come out, and he's been pretty adamant about people not watching his famous skit comedy show. The reason being is he signed a really bad contract when he was up and coming. And the thing is, he doesn't get paid for reruns. Anything where it gets sold and bounces around, he doesn't get a dime for it. He doesn't get any residuals, nothing. So he's not getting paid every time you watch that show. So he's strongly encouraging, if you're a fan of him, please don't watch his show, which he said is extremely weird to request. But as an artist, he's not getting paid for it, so he doesn't want anyone to watch it. So Netflix actually did a good thing. He reached out to Netflix and asked them if they could not stream this show, and they obliged. They said, we have a good working relationship. He's done a few stand-ups for him. We want to keep that relationship great, so they pulled it. However, you can go to CBS All Access because they do own Comedy Central, and they have the rights to it, so still streaming there. You can still catch it, but if you're a fan of Chappelle and you support him, you might not want to be watching that show. It's I kind of feel for a guy that, blood, sweat, tears, it's his creative property. Yeah, he signed a bad deal, but, he should get some of the cut to it. I always feel bad for artists in all platforms that put out their hard work, their creative ideas, and at the time, they don't know any better. They're just, they want to get their product out there. They sign a deal. And unfortunately for Chappelle, like many others, like Taylor Swift, and remember Def Leppard was notoriously in a bad deal where they couldn't have their original stuff. So it's sad.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of up-and-coming artists get taken advantage of. They've got managers who go in, create these sweet deals for themselves, but obviously they don't get any residuals on some of their biggest hits. Like you mentioned, not just in television, but in music as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the Beatles, right? They don't own the rights to their original stuff. Like, it was sold to Michael Jackson, and now I don't even know who owns that now. And it's just nuts. Yeah. Like, as an artist, you should own the rights to your stuff, You would think One of the most notable ones is, like, Taylor Swift out there right now. Like, she's purposely going back, re-recording her stuff. Def Leppard did the same thing before they got theirs back. And it's not going to be quite the same, and it's going to hurt the value of it, and that's just so she has the rights to her own music.
Right.
So,
and in her case,
she
owns the rights to the songs, but not the masters, which is why she's going back and re-recording them so she can own those masters and then, get paid for any commercial deals or, anything along those lines.
Yeah. Well, the guy in her deal is he's a scumbag too.
Yeah.
Just total douche. Anywho's, that's not what this episode's about, but let's roll on. Some controversy, one of our beloved shows, which I have yet to watch, the new Animaniacs, is already creating lots of controversy being back, in the world of offensive stuff. But in this particular one, I don't know if it was a gag they meant to put in, but unfortunately it got them in some heat, and they had to go back and edit it. So in the 6th episode of the Hulu rebooted series, Brain can be seen featured in a television commercial to promote his plan for world domination. A phone number to reach the cartoon mouse is displayed in the ad. When viewers began dialing the numbers, they were shocked to find out that the number is legitimate and connected to an adult entertainment service. You can check out. So it's on there. It's a 1-800 number. It wasn't long before the sex hotline Easter egg became quite the topic on Twitter, and this was noticed by Warner Brothers, because nowadays that stuff spreads like wildfire. The studio promptly removed the episode from the streaming service so the number can be edited out. So now it's the episode is back up, and it now no longer has that phone number. It's just kind of funny to me. And the second episode that they had on this reboot was fans were pissed off after an episode poked fun at Johnny Depp. A movie poster is in the background for a movie called Johnny 2 Telling Lies, starring Johnny Depp. And that pissed off a lot of fans and stuff. So, again, that got pulled. Paulson said the joke stems from a nursery rhyme with a father asking his son if he's telling lies. So, I'm all for Animaniacs. None of that's offensive to me. It just seems like somebody had a little fun, and that's
ultimately what it comes down to is if you're offended by it, don't watch it. But don't get upset and start boycotting and demanding that they pull it down. It's they're poking fun, and they're doing something that they've always done. It's
amazing.
Slow your roll a little
kind
bit.
of world. It is super amazing how easy people are offended nowadays. Like, I think, especially in the world of comedy, I think it's a lot harder now because you gotta be real careful what you do and say, or accents and all that stuff. Back in the day, you could just if you go back and watch, and I'm surprised they let it fly in this day and age, go back and watch Eddie Murphy's Delirious. It is super offensive by today's standards. Like, it wasn't back then. It was funny, but man, you try watching that now, you're gonna be very offended very fast.
And if you get offended, don't watch it.
Yeah, exactly. But I digress, and it is time. We're out of time for the entertainment stuff. I rambled a little too long. Let's go ahead and boogie on to those December 1st birthdays.
It's my birthday!
Crikey! Son of a crocodile! Robert Irwin is 16. Sweet 16. I'm gonna wreck it with Vanellope Sweets. She's 49. Sarah Silverman. She doesn't look 49. No, she looks rather young still. And the win beneath the Sanderson sisters' wings, Bette Midler is 74. Legitimately, that's all for celebrity birthdays. The rest was all YouTubers and stuff. So nice and short, sweet. That's celebrity news for December 1st.
There you go. Well, folks, that does it for the entertainment portion of the show. When we come back, it is time for Animal Tales, sponsored by roughriders.org. Don't go anywhere.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, Let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Hey!
So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And welcome back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Tuesday, December 1st. We are all over social media, with many of you watching us right now on Facebook Live or YouTube Live as we speak. Now, if you want to get a hold of us on social, you can. I'm available at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. That's Kristian with a K, Phoenix with an F, radio, of course, with an R, or on Instagram and Twitter at Phoenix Media Radio. Tony's available at facebook.com/Tony.Sanfilippo. That's SANFILIPPO.94, or on Instagram at Tony.Sanfilippo81. Now, as we do on Tuesdays, we're going to go through animal tales, stories of animals and, some inspiring stories, some crazy stories, whatever it may be. But it is sponsored by roughriders.org. Rough Riders is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the transport of at-risk dogs in the rural kill shelters, brings them here to the local shelters in the Reno metro area, and helps find them homes with the help of their rescue partners and shelters as well. The other thing is today is Giving Tuesday. So Rough Riders is running a fundraiser on Facebook right now, trying to raise just $1,000 for this Giving Tuesday, and Facebook will actually match your donation, and it is tax deductible as well. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking to do something good this holiday season. And you can get more information at roughriders.org or on Facebook at Rough Riders Saves. Now, with that being said, it is time for Animal Tales.
Dogs and the cats, they take up the middle where the honeybee hums and the cricket fiddles, the donkey brays and the pony neighs, the old grey badger sighs.
Listen to the bass, it's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and groans with the big to-do, and the old cow just goes moo.
I feel like I need a big jug to blow into.
Right? Lisa, never stop in the middle of a hoedown. I always think that when you say the jug, I think of that episode of The Simpsons where Homer needs thinking music. And Lisa's just blowing into this jug, and she stops, and then he says that line. So that's just what I thought about. I reference old Simpsons in my head sometimes.
Hey, that's all right. We all do. Well, let's go ahead and kick things off on Animal Tales. This one comes out of your neck of the woods, Tony. This dog might be small, but he's got a big heart for his best friend. Winston the Dachshund proved his heroism earlier this month when his buddy Miho, a 15-year-old Chiweenie, was attacked by a mountain lion in Evergreen, Colorado. Their owners,
Ooh,
Sarah Moore
Miho.
and Lindsay Golden, told 9 News that the dogs got out of the house through an open door, and within seconds, a mountain lion grabbed Miho. Instead of running away in fear, Winston chased the large cat and barked until it dropped Miho and left. Quote, "This is his best friend, so I'm not surprised that when he was screaming that he chased after him more," Winston's owner told 9 News. "He's got a lot of heart." As soon as the mountain lion dropped Miho, Moore and Golden rushed him to the emergency veterinarian. Unfortunately, the dog lost his right eye and had a seizure the night of the attack. Miho could have some neurological damage, according to a GoFundMe page Moore set up to help pay for his medical bills. As of Wednesday night, the page had raised $11,180. And I got to tell you, we had 2 dachshunds who unfortunately recently passed, and this does not surprise me whatsoever. We've got our Pitty, Tahoe, and where we live, we back up to BLM land. A lot of coyotes that roam through, and at one point, a coyote got over the fence, and both Marley, our dachshund, and Tahoe, our Pitty, were out there. Tahoe comes running back to the door scared, and Marley chased the coyote off. So it's no surprising they are actually badger hunters, and it's always nice that they're so dedicated to their family that they can chase off a mountain lion and save their 15-year-old Chiweenie best friend.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's the same thing, anywhere you live. I mean, Colorado, Nevada, pretty similar. If you we back close to the mountains, so you hear a lot of mountain lion stories being close to the Front Range here and everything. And, if you have animals and you leave them out, you got to be very careful because you never know what's going to come down the mountain. And in Evergreen, where this story takes place, is actually in the mountains. It's as you start to go up I-70, as you're climbing, it's one of the first towns there. So I just think that's really cool. When they say man's best friend, literally they love their humans. They definitely, and same, they love their sibling dogs, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
They get very protective, and it's just neat to see that,
Yeah. And just, another
Which
reason.
is why this segment's fun anyways. You get to hear cool things like that.
Exactly. Moving on, and speaking of cool things, Tony, would you...
You little crazy son.
Would you own a glow-in-the-dark pet?
Maybe. Depends on what it was. Is it a Mogwai? Is it a Grogu? What is it?
Well, Australian mammals and marsupials, including wombats, glow in the dark under ultraviolet light, according to a team of scientists. After a U.S. study in October found that platypuses, or platypi, are biofluorescent, researchers
What a weird name, platypus.
I know. Researchers from Western Australian Museum borrowed a UV light to verify the claim. Not only were they able to confirm the findings of the earlier study, but also discovered that many other marsupials and mammals also glow in the dark. Researchers don't know yet why these creatures, including wombats and bilby, I don't know what a bilby is, are biofluorescent, but believe it could be to help them spot fellow members of their own species, as the bulk of those glowing in the dark were nocturnal. In October, U.S. scientists from Northland College discovered accidentally that if you shine a UV light on a platypus, it will glow green in the dark. This is a form of biofluorescence, something that has long been known about in plants, insects, and sea creatures, but until now had not been seen in mammals. Inspired by the U.S. discovery, Kenny Trevelyan, a paleontologist from Western Australian Museum, found a UV light and used it on specimens in the museum. He said, "We borrowed it and turned off the lights in the collection and looked around for what was glowing and not glowing. They started by checking the platypus to verify the findings of the U.S. study and found they were all glowing, which confirmed the research." So there you go. If owning marsupials was an actual thing here in the U.S., if it's something you could do and they made great pets, well, you could find them in the dark easily if that was something you wanted to do.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of things that glue in the dark animal-wise, where like those fish, like that had the neon stripes. Those are really cool if you got kind of a fluorescent, well, most lights that you use in the fish tank are fluorescent anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But our buddy Denny, he had a couple of those. I thought they were just neat. So when I'd watch him, I'd watch his house when they'd go on vacay, you turn down the UV light on it and stuff. And just the way they popped in there was really cool. mean, it's just they're just fish, but still,
Yeah.
still neat to see. But a marsupial, it'd be kind of neat. I don't know.
I don't own a wombat.
If it was cute, yeah. Well, I don't like the Grogu. If it was real, or a Mogwai, even though I'd be a little scared about getting them wet or feeding them after midnight. Yeah. But if it's just stayed like Gizmo, I'd be cool with that. It's cute.
Why not? And let's move on to our last story. So the World Wildlife Fund, not the WWF.
The WWF, yeah, the panda taking the chair to the back of the other panda. Huh? Tell him, Mean Gene.
The other WWF calls gorillas gentle giants, and a new viral clip of one primate shows why. A gorilla appears to tend to an injured bird and encourage it to fly at a zoo in New South Wales, Australia, according to a video posted Wednesday by Viral Hog. In the clip, the gorilla approaches the stationary bird and lies down for a closer look. He then gently touches the bird several times, prompting one observer to say, "It looks like he's trying to get it to go." The bird flutters its wings and the gorilla eventually saunters off. "How awesome was that?" a woman says in the clip. The presumed videographer said of the November 10th scene in the YouTube description, "The gorilla walked away without ever harming it. It was amazing. Such a big animal could be so gentle." And obviously, depending on where you stand on evolution versus creationism, it's hard to deny that we share certain traits with gorillas and chimpanzees, and compassion is just another one of those things that you see out in the animal kingdom, and not every animal is just vicious and violent.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Gorillas are very smart. Obviously, we're descendants of them, so they're very intelligent. I think a lot of animals are, and they just don't get all the credit they deserve. It's all the training, but the interactions with humans, it's neat just because they can't talk. Just see characteristics to tie into the first story you told. That's it's pretty evident, like the whole defense.
Mm-hmm.
It's they definitely have feelings, care, and same things that we do.
Exactly. Now, folks, if you want to watch that video or any of the stories that we covered here in Animal Tales, I will be posting that on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. But that does it for Animal Tales for this week. When we come back, it's a segment called Love Thy Neighbor. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool, and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And welcome back, folks, to the fourth and final segment of the first hour, but we still have plenty to go with our second hour ahead. And so far, so good. Smooth, no Xfinity screw-ups.
I was just going to say, man, when you said fourth and final, I'm like, we're still on that smooth butter sailing that we had for hour 2 yesterday.
Yeah, let's not jinx it. But in any case, if you missed a portion of the show or you want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, it's easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix radio show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, about a 20 in all. While you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review, let us know what you think, and tell your friends, because sharing is caring. Now, speaking of sharing, most of us live in housing developments or apartment complexes, and we've got neighbors that we have to deal with. Some neighbors are fantastic, other neighbors not so much. And of course, there's an app that has made it big in the last couple of years called Nextdoor, where you can post everything from garage sales to just things that are going on in the community. But every once in a while, it catches a fight between neighbors that is so good we just have to cover it here. Now, Tony, we know that you've got some neighbors who occasionally like to visit Pound Town, and you get to overhear it. But aside from that, are there any real neighbor grievances that you have?
No, I actually really like my neighbors. So where I'm facing, I have neighbors to this side, and then I have neighbors behind here. The neighbors over here are awesome. They're Star Wars nerds. They're really fun to talk to. Very polite. They one time had to hide one of my Amazon packages for me because the wind was blowing. They're very courteous, and we've conversated. I actually thought that I had this complaint. I got this new surround sound system at Costco, and the bass is it sounds great, but I've always kept it pretty low because I don't want to be rude,
right?
But the bass is kind of bumping, and sometimes you're watching stuff where it comes out of nowhere, and you're like, "Oh, you try to turn it
right
down." Well, I got this note on my door that said, "Hey, we're trying to sleep, we work, yada yada," and I wrote back because I really didn't want to offend them, because I've always gotten along with them, and they're like, "You're sweet." They're like, "Your stuff doesn't bother us." They're like, and especially if you're watching Star Wars, please crank it up. It's fine with us.
Very cool.
So they were really cool. Well, turns out I think it's the neighbors over here. Now, I didn't reach back and say, "Sorry, I've just been polite and turned it down," but the grievance I have with these guys is, and it's nothing they can do. They got kids, but man, they stomp and they bang things and they're loud. Like last night, they were clanging and banging, and I don't know if they were towning because I didn't hear the old Monski Ronskis, but they're always stomping. It's always loud. So, it doesn't bother me. But yesterday, for some reason, it was a little much. It was a little extra. And then the fun Jedi masters, they were practicing their Jedi skills, I'm sure, when I first moved in. Because I heard some moans from the Jedi Temple. It was a little had me.
Yeah, in close quarters.
They were moans, and they weren't from Grogu.
It's bound to happen. Well,
yeah.
we've got some selections from the best of next door. For instance, this person who puts, need to rehome a dog. Small terrier tends to bark a lot. If interested, let me know, and I'll jump over my neighbor's fence and get it for you.
That's a good one.
Obviously not trying to rehome their own dog.
I like it. Yeah.
All right.
Savage.
Here's the next one. Speaking of animals, it says, nightly visitor. It's a picture of a possum drinking out of a dog's water bowl. It says, that's my friend I call George Jones. He's been visiting me nightly since he was a little tiny guy some months ago. He eats slugs and fleas and a few other pests in my yard. I say hello to George, and he crawls right up close to me and sniffs around. He's my buddy now. He was trapped inside a trash can once as a juvenile, and I let him out. I think he remembers I saved him. He's a cool friend now. And you know what? Possums aren't the gross creatures that people think they are. They actually keep a lot of other critters away. And, they've got dead eyes, but they can be cute.
Yeah, that was a good story. I thought he was going to try to get rid of him. I'm like, wait.
No.
Was he going to get rid of him too? No, that is a good one.
Here's one that actually I was just texting with Tony that we may do as a call-in topic. It says, message to the thief. To the person who stole my plant and stand on my front porch, grow up. I hope you get diarrhea and stub your toe really hard. Don't walk by my house again. Nobody likes you. To my deceased grandmother, who was the original owner of the plant, please kill the plant. It's not at home anymore.
Dang. But that is savage. Yeah, people taking other people's stuff. It's ridiculous, man. Like,
has the planet gone mad?
Well, yeah, it's 2020. It's definitely gone mad, but
yeah. There's no reason for stealing stuff off people's front yards, and especially this time of year where people have to deal with porch pirates. But like I said, I think we might make that a call-in topic, sometime in the next week or so.
I like it.
Moving on with Love Thy Neighbor, best of next door. You have, meanwhile, in St. Louis, I'm quarantining, but I'm out of sugar for my coffee. If someone could stop by with third cup in sandwich baggie and leave it on my doorstep, that would be great. Make sure to write not cocaine on the bag. I could see where somebody would maybe get that confused. And speaking of drugs and neighbors, this one, to whomever called 911.
Drugs and neighbors.
To whomever called 911 on the marijuana plants in the front yard, they are tomato plants, you imbecile. Next time you feel the need to stuff up the emergency line with absolute garbage, try 311. That's the non-emergency line. You're welcome. And if you're confusing tomato plants with pot plants, then you've got some bigger issues.
Yeah.
And
hey, I like to call and report my neighbor's marijuana, and this is still Hubie, and it's December, and I would like to tell you that I'm pretty sure that they're smoking the weed. Oh, the tomato plants? Ooh, smashing.
And even if your neighbor is growing a marijuana plant in their backyard, who cares? In most states, it's legal anyway now.
Yeah. To quote Bobby Brown, it's their prerogative.
I like another quote: "Snitches get stitches."
Oh, that's true. That was actually that was in the Saved by the Bell reboot. It said "Snitches get riches" because they were trying to find out who stole some iPads. Yeah.
I'm still going to pass on that one, but
that's the guy. I can tell you everything you want about it.
Moving on with a Love Thy Neighbor, the best of next door. You have, when people start chatting back and forth, this person who wrote flags. On my 2.5 mile with my dog, I saw a grand total of 13 American flags flying. I was hoping to see more, followed by a couple little flags, emojis. Well, somebody points out, your emojis are the Liberian flag, not the U.S. flag. Apparently, they were a little confused on what flag they were actually posting.
Yeah, that's... Pay attention. This goes back to the proofread before you post kind of thing.
Here comes something where you might want to be careful what you leave just lying around. It's a picture of a dog with something in its mouth, blurred out. Gus finds balls in the Golden Gate Park on almost every walk, sometimes two, but today he found something a little different. Though peripherally related, I suppose, if one's mind goes there. He was thrilled and proud, trotting to anyone who was nearby to show off his find while it bounced around in his mouth. I was laughing so hard I was crying, so I was not very good at getting him to drop it. Hilarious yet horrifying and completely gross. He will not be kissing me on the face for at least the next decade. Yes, you guessed it. He had a big old rubber wang in his mouth.
Hi, Raggy.
I just pictured that, and it seems like something that should be in a comedy movie, and I hope it ends up in one, because that's just funny.
Oh, and then finally with Love Thy Neighbor, there's a picture of a cat wearing overalls and a straw hat. Don't know why. Says, Jack is our chubby, beloved cat. He dashed the door late Tuesday night just prior to bedtime. He wasn't wearing any clothes at the time. So if you happen to notice a red cat who is naked, you might want to return Jack to them. He will not be wearing his overalls and his straw hat. Just
Dang it.
Just putting that out there.
I was looking forward to that. Come on, man.
And, with just a little bit of time left, let's do one more. It says, fart found, Owen. If anyone lost a fart today, I found it. It was lingering casually in the potato chip aisle in Kroger around 12:15 today.
That's awesome. I was going to say, your neighbors, they're quite gassy.
Hopefully they don't watch the show. But, folks, that does it for the first hour. When we come back, we've got our call-in topic. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in about 7 minutes. You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at fenixmedia.us.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and Shelter Pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. To explore our complete lineup, head over to fenixmedia.us or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. China says Australia is trying to deflect public attention in a row over a tweet that Canberra called repugnant. Australia is demanding an apology over a Twitter post with a fake picture of an Australian soldier killing an Afghan child. Beijing says Canberra is trying to blame it for worsening ties. One of the oldest names on the UK high street is set to close with the loss of 12,000 jobs. Last-ditch efforts to rescue Debenhams appear to have failed in the latest blow for Britain's retail industry. John Beaver reports.
Since opening its doors in 1778, Debenhams has withstood world wars, the Spanish flu, and multiple economic crises. But it seems the impact of coronavirus has proved too much for a retailer that was already struggling with the shift to online shopping. A third of the workforce was cut after administrators were appointed in April. Now the remaining staff are set to lose their jobs when the chain's 124 stores cease trading. The news comes just one day after Topshop owners, the Arcadia Group, went into administration, putting 13,000 jobs at risk.
Non-essential shops are reopening in Belgium after a month's closure. Restaurants, bars, cafes and gyms are remaining closed until the new year. It comes as Belgium's coronavirus figures continue to improve, as Lucy Hoff reports from Brussels.
There were queues outside many major high street stores in Brussels on the morning that non-essential shops reopened their doors. But there are strict new measures in place to ensure the reopening happens safely. People have to shop alone and can only stay inside a store for 30 minutes. Social distancing must be observed at all times. The hospitality sector will remain closed until at least the middle of January. But hospital admissions in Belgium had fallen to 120 per day, the lowest rate since October.
Organisers of the Tokyo Olympics say COVID-19 countermeasures will cost an additional $960 million as the price tag of the postponed games continues to climb. So far, delaying the Olympics has already added $1.9 billion to the stretched budget. Emmy O'Connor reports from Tokyo.
The additional costs will go towards setting up healthcare infrastructure, including a coronavirus testing system for the games, as well as procuring equipment necessary to prevent infection. The games were expected to cost $13 billion before they were postponed in March and were meant to be held in a cost-effective manner. There are also additional operating costs, such as expenses related to securing games venues, equipment rental, storage fees, and labor costs. The organizing committee is hoping to raise funds through additional contribution from sponsors and from insurance damage claims.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The Storks are bringing me a baby brother! We can do this together!
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this!
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Welcome back, folks, to the second hour of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Tuesday, December 1st. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. Still joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. No internet issues, so it looks like you had a chance to make your smoothie today.
I was able to make my smoothie. This is the second time I've used the new Vitamix, and I gotta tell you, man, where you been my whole life, Vitamix? It is damn expensive, let me tell you. It's on sale at Costco right now if you want to get one through Christmas. I think the December 21st, I think, goes off sale. I digress. It's $300, which is pricey for a blender, but man, oh man, this thing is like Smoothie King quality. It's so good, man. The blend is perfection, and what's great is it comes with this sweet attachment that the Blend Tech did not have. And you just put what you want into your one cup, and instead of having the big excess and having more, you just put what you need in that cup, man, and you put the little adapter on, like a NutriBullet kind of.
Nice.
Dude, it's perfection, dude. Then the flavor pops. Did not have that with the Blend Tech for some reason.
Yeah, I noticed you got back a little bit earlier, usually with the Blend Tech, it took you longer. There were some times where you just slipped right in as soon as the music was starting. But you were back nice and early.
Quick, man.
Nice.
And I'm telling you, one of the best smoothies I've ever made. I don't do anything different. It just tastes that much better.
Nothing like a good smoothie, that's for sure.
No, and you know what's weird, though, is I still can't smell.
Really?
I can taste, but I can't smell.
That is strange. That is very strange.
Yeah, still weird, man. Still weird.
Yeah. Don't know, obviously how to relate to that because smell has so much to do with taste, but, hopefully it comes back to you sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say some things I can't taste, but I can taste that smoothie. I can't smell it, but I can taste it.
Yeah, that works. Well, folks, this is the interactive portion of the show. This is where we want to hear from you guys, the listeners, and we invite you to call in 24 hours in advance for the next day's topic. And you can do so on the Fenix line, that number 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RADIO or 855-336-4973. And if you do call and chime in on our call-in topic, you are entered into a chance to win our prize contest. It is our our monthly contest where we will pull one person's name and they have a chance to win some Fenix fan gear, a Fenix media hat, shirt, maybe some other good odds and ends. But in any case, if you don't call, you can still chime in live with us on the live video. That's over at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. That's Kristian with a K, Fenix with an F, radio, of course, with an R. Just click into the live video and comment there in the comment section. Today's topic is further explanation required. So is there a concept or a topic or something that you just struggle to explain to somebody? Either they have no pre-existing knowledge and it's just one of those things that is really difficult, or you just can't find the right words to put it all together. And this stems from a conversation I had with Jessie last week as we were watching The Mandalorian. Now, she's not a huge Star Wars fan. She enjoys what she sees, as she sees it, but she's not really up on the canon and the timelines and all of that. And she decided to ask me sort of a two-part question. One, where does The Mandalorian fall into the greater Star Wars universe? And two, who is Ahsoka Tano? At which point, I was kind of stumped. It's difficult to explain Star Wars, and I just started telling her that, okay, well, the first movie that came out was actually Episode 4. This takes place between Episodes 6 and 7, which was about 30 years difference, but this takes place about 10 years after Episode 6. Now, Ahsoka Tano was part of the Clone Wars television series, which took place between Episodes 2 and 3, and she just started glazing over.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. Oh, God, it is a lot to explain. If you don't know the world of Star Wars, woof, it is tough.
Yeah, and I sort of attribute it to, these you see in the movies and the TV shows where they've got a poster board with pinups of pictures and red yarn tying one thing to another to another. That's the only way you can really explain it to somebody who has no concept of the Star Wars timeline, let alone the whole Clone Wars or Rebels, the offshoot cartoons.
Yeah, I felt like very similar to yours. Not using Star Wars, but I'll use the other big Disney franchises, and that's the Marvel movies. When you had to tie the MCU, like explaining it to my non-comic book family members, but they loved the movies. They enjoyed them. They're like, oh, this is great. But they're like, so what is this character tied to and why is this? So to go back and explain, you got to use your comic book nerd wisdom and say, well, this took place because of this. And this is actually set here, but they put it here to explain. So very similar to your Star Wars explanation, but I think Star Wars is the nail on the head. So I don't need to go into too much detail, but I would say the Avengers, is something I've had to explain to my family members because, again, they love the movies. They just don't get it, why certain things happened before those and why certain characters are intertwined.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They don't necessarily go in chronological order. For instance, somebody who's not up to speed might wonder why there's a Black Widow movie coming out when she is clearly dead as the result of Endgame. Well, it's a prequel to that, and it sort of explains where she came from, and it actually takes place after the events of Civil War. But we could talk an entire hour just about geeky, nerdy stuff, which we do on our Proton Pack podcast. Little shameless plug there. But folks, it is time that we want to hear from you. What concept have you struggled to explain to somebody else? Chime in now on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Click into the live video and comment there. When we come back, folks, it is all about you. So go ahead and comment now. We'll see you guys in just a few.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live?
that it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m. and I told you the exact path it would take, you would of course prepare. You would talk with your loved ones and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Tuesday, December 1st. Now we are smack dab in the middle of the interactive portion of our show where we want to hear from you guys, the listeners and watchers, about a concept or a topic that you struggle in explaining to others. For instance, I gave the example of trying to explain to Jesse Star Wars and how the Mandalorian and Ahsoka fit into everything, and it becomes almost too complex a task to do. Now, if you do want to chime in, go ahead and comment on the comment section of our Facebook video over at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Let us know what you struggle with explaining to others. Tony, I assume that being a lifetime Costco person, that sometimes you have to explain how Costco works to people, that Costco actually makes money on the memberships, not on the goods that they necessarily sell.
Yeah, that's exactly true. It's easy to think like, oh man, Costco can sell stuff on the cheap and this is how they make their money, and it's totally not that. It's totally about the memberships, and you try to explain, especially to we want you to bring your friends, we want you to bring your guests because we want them to become members. You do get like those big ass groups of like 5 people trying to use one membership, and you try to explain the concept that you got to have a membership. Well, the reason being is that's what keeps Costco afloat. That's it's amazing that membership dues and stuff, that's why they go up, every so many years, is you got to keep up with demands and stuff. And I think it's a great value for what you pay for some of the products.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
It kind of weeds out. It's not for everybody, even though it seems nowadays it's really easy to get in and out. Just buying stuff's a whole different story when you get to the checkout line.
Yeah, and with Costco, it's easy to recoup the cost of that membership fairly quickly. I mean, I go to Costco probably once a week to pick up odds and ends, food items, things that I need. And, in just a short period of time, that would cover my membership cost, which, that's the whole point of it. And that's what pays the employees and gives you the phenomenal service that you expect when you go to Costco.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Tony, has anybody chimed in on your end as far as difficult things that are, concepts that are difficult to explain, kind of like this topic?
I've got 2 of them.
Okay,
so we'll go with one because they'll both be good topic conversations for this segment. For Lacey, it was really fun for her to explain to Annabella on how Anders was going to get out of her tummy. So explaining to a young child like how birthing goes and how that's going to happen. I can only imagine that conversation and how fun that would be, because my sweet niece Annabella does like to ask some good questions. So,
right.
So do you want to be very like educational about it, not and forthright in explaining it? I'm not how sure the conversation actually went, but she said it was fun.
Yeah, so. You don't necessarily want to lie to them, but at the same time, they're not quite ready for that talk. Unlike my oldest one, who I'm dreading having that the talk with him, but it's got to happen. It's got to happen, and it's
No,
got to be
no,
truthful.
I was gonna say it doesn't necessarily have to happen. In my lifetime, I've still to this day never got the birds and the bees talk.
You know, it's
I
fun.
got the.
I never.
I
did.
just got told. I know kids are watching, but I just got told. Just don't make me a grandma. That's all my mom ever told me, and I didn't understand. Like, what the hell are you talking about? So I had to figure out between friends and other means. But yeah, my dad to this day.
Yeah, magazine.
Said, well, pal.
You found out through magazines you found at the park and that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And luckily, having a little bit older of an uncle, it kind of told me stuff.
Oh, I'm sure that helps.
Got to figure that out. Another chime in was from Mike, and I can relate to this, and I admire him for doing this. This is Lacey's husband. For those listening, he puts together, when we do group vacations, whether it's the cruise of 2016 or Disney World of 2019, Mike's the liaison where he will be on, because he works, online anyways from home remotely. So during times he's got a little time to look, and I can only imagine how hard it is for him to try to plan a big old group. And we're talking like the SOV, we're talking like it could be anywhere from 10 to 20 people trying to plan vacations. It can be a nightmare because now you got to find out when's the best time to book, when's the flights going on sale, how many you can reserve, here's the deposit, et cetera, et cetera. He does that, and he's very patient, and he's so good at dealing with when communication's not always great and coming up with deposit monies and things like that. I mean, putting his neck on the line to kind of wait for groups to start paying him back, it can get a little sticky. So kudos to you, Mike, for doing this. Now, the hard concept of that is the whole where his little board goes, and I'm just kind of speaking off actually having conversations with them on this instead of reading a text. It's the headache of, okay, so we're going to go do this. We're going to be at Bay Tower or, Bay Lake Tower at 8:00, and we're going to go do a dinner at 8. Trying to organize a massive group and plan your day at the parks is a headache. It's so much easier for a little group, but a big group trying to explain what you're doing and why you're doing it is a nightmare. So Mike, kudos to you, buddy, for doing that. I like to just be easy going. You say what time, when, where, when we buy it, I'm in. I just go with it. I try not to make things difficult.
Well, just think about how difficult it is to organize a dinner with 5-6 people, maybe 3 separate couples, and trying to figure out who wants to go where, what time, who pays for what. That's hard enough, but trying to organize an entire vacation, Mike, I don't envy what you have to do in those respects. But we are talking about concepts and topics that are difficult to explain to others. Feel free to chime in. We still got about 4 minutes left. Let us know what you struggle explaining to other people. While we are waiting, I've got some things that are complex things, complex ideas.
Complex things. Hi, Annabelle, I see you. You're standing like this far from the TV. I see you.
But in this case, distilled down into the easiest explanation. So for instance, chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is a highly complex medical system device, but ultimately it works by stopping your body from making new cells in hopes that the cancer cells die off before your good cells do. So it's almost a race for figuring out which cells die off first. Unfortunately, it does take a toll on the body, but that is a distilled down version of a complex thought.
Yeah, it is. Like, I always thought, like, if I ever got the dreaded C, like, I don't know if I'd want to do that. It just looks so hard on everybody that goes through it. You watching my buddy Jeff battle that, it was just awful.
Yeah, I don't wish it on anybody. It's
Nope.
just a terrible way to go. Not
even a Grimmy.
Another concept that's hard for people to understand, especially those who aren't tech savvy, is computers. I try to explain often how certain systems work, and it's tough if you aren't familiar with how a computer works. For instance, RAM versus the hard drive. RAM, which is random access memory, is like a computer's short-term memory, whereas the hard drive is its long-term memory. So Things that are happening right now are utilizing the RAM. Things that are for storage for long term are your hard drive. Likewise, IP addresses. Everybody hears the word IP address, but what is it actually? Well, an IP address is like a street address, but for computers that are connected on a network. And so that's how outside systems know where to send the data, because each computer has its own little unique identifier.
That's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah. And it's the reason that VPNs exist, and a lot of people want to hide their IP, whether it's for legitimate reasons or, security, or not so legitimate reasons. For instance, getting access to things they wouldn't otherwise get access to based on their location. Something else that's hard to explain is constellations. You look up, you see a bunch of stars, but back in the early days, constellations were basically just lines that we drew to help us remember stars' locations, and of course locations on directions for those who were traveling. Orbits, likewise, are just things falling sideways fast and continuously missing the ground. Each planet, each celestial body has its own certain amount of gravity, and then orbits are what surrounds that planet. It's falling, but it's not quite hitting the ground, so it just stays in that perpetual motion. All right, looking through, just seeing if anybody has chimed in, because we've got just a minute left. That's okay.
Just a minute. What else is so hard to explain? We've talked movies, vacation planning. Sometimes what's kind of hard to explain to some people is sometimes explaining our radio show.
Yeah.
You ever get that? Like, people are like, so you do radio, and they're fascinated. People are always fascinated with that you do radio, which is awesome. But then they're like, so what's your show about? And you're like, well, it's a little of this, it's a little of this, and then, it's your daily laugh of your daily dose of laugh and levities and things like that. And they're like, so what do you talk about? What is what I just told you? It's a little of this,
right,
a little of that. And we do topics. It's different every day. So sometimes to explain to some people, like watching their face just go, huh? Like, and then you're like, okay, well, it went from being, well, that's cool, to,
I don't get it.
What do you want to talk about? We'll talk about it on our show. What do you want?
I find the easiest way to describe it is a morning variety show. Could be talking about sports, entertainment,
you can have meltdowns when your technology fails.
Exactly.
All kinds of stuff. You don't know what the day's going to bring.
Yeah.
So.
And then finally, in concepts that are hard to explain, alcohol. Well, alcohol like beer or, hard alcohol is basically just bacteria poop. Yeast eats sugar and excretes ethanol and CO2, which obviously creates alcohol, which gets you drunk and tipsy, and all of those good and sometimes bad things that alcohol does.
There's a lot of bacteria inside 7-Eleven taquitos. Just saying. Fun fact of the day.
Won't get you drunk, though. But, folks, that does it for the
interactive. You're calling.
That it will. That does it for the interactive portion. Tomorrow's topic is gifts for the impossible. What do you give the person who's impossible to buy for Christmas? Well, that's what we're going to be exploring, and hopefully you guys can give us some ideas, because I'm kind of in that situation right now. So in any case, when we come back, folks, we've got a segment called Fresh Facts. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole, or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting's hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Indeed. This is the Kristian Fenix radio show. It is December 1st. It's a Tuesday. Now we have a thing called the Fenix Line. We talk about it quite a bit on the show, so if you're not familiar with it, it is a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, giving you guys the opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever. And you know how it works. You leave a message after the beep. You don't even have to talk with a real person. Now, the way we've been doing our call-in topics is giving you guys the topic the day beforehand, give you guys a chance throughout the day at your convenience to chime in for the next day's topic. Tomorrow's topic is gifts for the impossible. As I mentioned in the last segment, these are what to get for people for Christmas that are nearly impossible to buy for. Maybe they're the person who has everything, or they're the person who wants nothing. What do you get them? So help us out. As I mentioned, I'm sort of in this predicament right now, so any help would be truly appreciated. But the Fenix Line, that number is 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973 for the alphanumerically impaired. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We'll compile those together and put them out in a future show. Now, in this segment, wanted to talk about a sitcom that Tony and I grew up with that before we went to our long break last week, we were gushing over the reunion that was just aired on HBO Max. And we know that not everybody has access to HBO Max, won't necessarily be able to watch this, but found that there were a lot of interesting behind-the-scenes facts that I didn't previously know. So that's why we call this segment Fresh Facts.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air.
Yes, we are talking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The reunion special was fantastic. And if you do plan on watching it, if you have access to HBO Max, I would strongly suggest either just skipping ahead to the next segment or just put on those earmuffs. Or if you don't mind being spoiled, by all means, go ahead and keep listening. But for instance, one of the more interesting facts was that the main focus of the Fresh Prince was originally the chaotic dynamic between Will and Uncle Phil. But once they noticed the chemistry between Will and Carlton, their friendship became an important element to the show. And obviously the way they played together and I mean, some of the stuff they did where Carlton was basically the straight man to Will's goofiness. It's a dynamic that I think I can appreciate that we have here on this show, huh, Tone?
Absolutely, man. And there's always a good dynamic when you have good chemistry with one another. And I think that's how you become friends. And I really love the fact when people are in TV shows and they're friends in real life, they're able to play off each other that much better on air. You know, it's tough when you know they don't get along. You kind of get that vibe and the connection is harder.
It seems forced.
But yeah, it's definitely neat.
Yeah. And I mean, so much so with this dynamic between Will and Carlton that even at the first table read for the pilot episode, Will Smith and Alfonso Ribeiro wouldn't stop chasing each other around the table. And it just goes to show that right from the get-go, they had that instant chemistry.
Yeah, it's I like the snickering and the way they play. They got along well with each other on that show. I just started rewatching it, and I'm 2 episodes in on season 1, man. And let's talk about some good stuff. And watching the reunion and them kind of spilling the behind the scenes stuff. Now that I've gone back and I've started to rewatch it, knowing this stuff, what I didn't know then, and I was way too young to really catch any of that stuff now, like him mouthing his line, like Will was so dedicated to get this down. He learned everybody's lines, and if you watch in the early episodes, he totally mouths the lines as they do it. So
yeah,
and he doesn't realize he's doing it, and it makes it on there. So, and
it's funny because it's something you don't catch just in passing, but when they go and they point it out and they even like highlight his lips. It's amazing to go back and see that. And, obviously he wasn't an actor before. He was just a rapper. And so didn't realize that he only really needed to learn his lines or, the triggers to get in and out of his lines, not everybody's lines.
Yeah, but kudos to him. It's made him who he is today. And I think he's a fantastic actor. So for somebody that was just pulled from being a rap star into this, really cool. Yeah. Really cool how he could adapt to that seemingly easily, but I don't know how easy it was. That's for me. I have the kind of short-term memory, so it's kind of hard to remember a lot of. It's hard to intake a lot of that for me, But then again, I'm not getting paid to do it. If I was getting paid to remember stuff, I probably would do a lot better.
Exactly, you would treat it the way it deserves to be treated. Well,
absolutely.
Let's move on with our fresh facts. This one blew my mind, seeing it on there. Will Smith auditioned for the Fresh Prince at Quincy Jones's birthday party with only 10 minutes notice. Everything went so well, they created the deal memo that night. Typically, stars have to audition for roles in an audition setting. A series going to even pilot is just a huge ordeal. The fact that this was sort of off the cuff at Quincy Jones's birthday party while all the executives were there, they had Will Smith audition with 10 minutes notice. That blew my mind. I don't know about you, Tone.
Yeah, I think it's crazy because when you think Quincy Jones, you think music. You don't think necessarily television or anything like that. So when they kept talking about Quincy Jones, I'm like, the Quincy Jones? And, and his story where like Quincy had that big Michael Jackson statue or poster when Will Smith was in there doing his audition, and, he's looking up at Michael Jackson's thing, talking to Quincy Jones, just the surreal moment of saying, we want to pitch this show. We want you to be the guy. And he's like, So they made him on the fly do an audition, which was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, Quincy has a track record for finding talent. Obviously, goes to show all of the Grammys he's won, all of the gold and platinum records he's produced. So I think I'm glad it worked out that way. Obviously, we got a wonderful series out of it. Moving on with our fresh facts, this is one that had me laughing. I forgot about this episode until they brought it up, but Alfonso Ribeiro completely improvised the scene at the end of Will's Misery in season 5, where he ran around the entire set, and that's the one where in the kitchen he was pulling himself on the floor and his knees were dragging, and just crazy. And they even broke the fourth wall with it as he went up into the audience, and they showed on the show itself him running into the audience and then coming back down, and it's something that had never happened in sitcom history.
Yeah, that's crazy, because you always like there's an audience, or at least sometimes it makes you think that it's just a laugh track, because the laughs always seem to be on cue, on point. When you're younger, you don't understand that there is, from Kristian and I have been to the Tonight Show a couple of times, and there is an applause button. There's a time where it says quiet, and then reaction, and everybody. So some of it is kind of forced. Ha 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 ha. It's forced, but some of it's legit. And I think during that scene, you could kind of see it was completely legit, because there was a lot of laughter, and I think the crowd reaction when he went running through was huge. And I don't remember that episode when we were younger. I mean, and we used to watch it every Monday night. That used to be the thing, was to watch Fresh Prince. I think Blossom was on around that time too.
Yeah, but you're going through the series, so you'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Now speaking of laughs from the audience, one of the longest audience laughs the Fresh Prince ever received was when Trevor proposed to Hillary while bungee jumping on TV and crashed to his death. Will
you marry? And it just went static.
Well, and the reason they have those applause signs is more for when they turn it off. They want the audience to quiet down so that the actors can continue their lines, and the audience just kept going and going and going. It was just hilarious.
Good stuff there. It's I remember the Trevor thing, and it's funny. Hillary doesn't bother me now, but like when I was younger watching the show, was never really a big Hillary fan. I always thought she was kind of bitchy.
That's
but
all right.
She did. That just means Karen Parsons played her role well.
Yeah.
She did what she was supposed to, because she seems very humble and nice, like in the reunion. So
yeah, now you've got a new appreciation for her. And then finally, with fresh facts. Of course, one of the staples of the show was Jazz, or DJ Jazzy Jeff, being thrown out of the house. Well, they shot Jazz being thrown out of the Banks house in 150 takes in one day. So I could only imagine how that wore on his body, but he just got up, did it again, got up, did it again. 150 takes to be thrown out of the house, and of course they probably didn't use all of them. But it was one of those reoccurring things that was always hilarious. But folks, that does it for our fresh facts from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. When we come back, we're heading into the final segment of the show, and that means it's time for This Day in History. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone
anyone being bullied online, you can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Well, folks, we did it. We made it to the final segment of this episode of the Kristian Fenix radio show on a Tuesday, December 1st, without any technical issues, which is always good. But if you missed a portion of the show or you want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, it is easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix radio show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, Doozer, Dozer, Geezer, Gozer.
Are you a god?
Of course. Why would I not be? I'm wearing Denver Bronco gear. Of course I'm a god.
Well, maybe not this season, but...
Yeah, hey, that's why I'm wearing old vintage. I'm reliving the old days with the old D.
There you go. Well, while you are there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always get the latest episode. Leave a review. Let us know what you think and tell your friends, because why, Tony?
Sharing is caring.
And we care about you guys so much, which is why we do this segment at the end of each show where we want to drop a little knowledge, hopefully make you laugh at the same time. Yes, it is time for This Day in History.
Traversing the globe for the stories that turn the world on its head. It's This Day in History with your correspondent on the beat,
Kristian Fenix.
Thanks, Siri. All right, kicking things off. This day in 800, Charlemagne judges the accusations against Pope Leo III in the Vatican. Charlemagne is not the rapper. This is the Holy Roman Emperor from way back when.
Holy Roman, I'm a bigger fan of the Pope for yeah.
I love it.
Holy Roman.
Little Dio reference there.
I had nothing for that. Yeah, I had nothing for it, really. Just make fun of it instead.
That's okay. This day in 1824, the U.S. House of Representatives begins to decide the outcome of the election deadlock between John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson. Boy, that starts to sound a little familiar.
Yeah. Andrew Jackson did not want to concede. He stayed. He didn't leave his little table.
His huge table.
His huge table. Did you see a picture of that?
No.
No, Siri. Siri, this is your segment, but please don't interrupt the good hoedown. No, there's a picture, and I think it's legit. And I'm not poking fun at politics, but I saw it on the Tonight Show. But they had Trump at his presidential desk, but they shot it from afar, and it looked like one of the little tables that are on your pizzas.
Yeah.
That just separates the box from touching the cheese, and it just looks like a little table. The table he looked like a little kid at a table. You'll have to see it. It's the weirdest thing.
I'll have to check it out.
Poor Trumposaurus.
Moving on, this day in 1868, John D. Rockefeller begins an anti-oil war. How do you think that worked out for him?
Well, he's rich. He's a Rockefeller, and he has a center name after him, and they'll be lighting the Rockefeller tree tomorrow after the Steelers-Ravens game, if that happens.
Right.
So I think it worked out pretty damn well.
Yeah, for him, he made a lot of money. The war on oil, not so much. We're still there, but, there's talk about debate. It's not a political show, so we won't go into it. What we will talk about...
It's okay to debate there, master.
It is. This day in 1887, Sherlock Holmes first appears in print, Study in Scarlet by... Do you remember the author's name, Tony? We've talked about it a few times. Sir... He was a Sir.
Sir Isaac Newton. I don't know.
Close, but no cigar. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah, I was not even close.
No. Speaking of oil, this day in 1913, Ford Motor Company institutes the world's first moving assembly line for the Model T Ford. And a lot of people think that Ford invented the automobile. They didn't. They invented the assembly line, which revolutionized the way we make goods in this country, and most countries for that matter.
They also found the very first, they had the first one that was found on the road dead.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tony knows that struggle a little too well.
Yeah, even with a new life, my Frankenstein vehicle still lacks oomph.
Speaking of lessons that Tony has learned.
Oh, yeah.
This day in 1953, Hugh Hefner publishes the first edition of Playboy magazine featuring Marilyn Monroe as the magazine's first centerfold.
He's good. If anyone had a more bitchin' life, and maybe I don't know, it looked from outside looking in, his life looked awesome. That dude got to live out like his last 30 years in pajamas and like a little bubble peace pipe. He had nonstop girlies dressed as bunnies hanging outside. He had a rock star. That guy had a party all the time. Like, his life did not look like it sucked.
Well, and it goes to show, hopefully, the character that he was, that, with the whole Me Too movement and everything that started coming out about celebrities and things along those lines, you didn't hear anything about Hefner.
No, Hefner was good. And, it's the magazine obviously is not what it was. I mean, I would say I've even looked at one in God knows how long.
Yeah.
Because they went for that weird movement, right? Where they did the no nudity, and then it just became a men's magazine like a Maxim.
Right.
Then they brought back the nudity, but it's just, unfortunately after half it kind of went south, and sometimes things like that happens. But for what it was, man, what a ride. And as a young kid, man.
and I know there's the joke that, I'm only reading it for the articles, but, the articles were actually pretty good.
Yeah, dude, it was, man, thank you, Hugh. You were,
well,
thumbs up, buddy.
We have him to thank on this day back in whatever, I passed it.
They should call this Hugh Hefner Day, man.
There you go.
A lot of young men got to see some great things. Great articles, great cartoons. The little comics in them were great, too.
Yeah, the jokes were good, too.
Yeah.
But we digress. Let's move on with this day in history. This day in 1955, Rosa Parks is arrested for refusing to move to the back of a bus to give her seat to a white passenger in Montgomery, Alabama. And I think it's a story we've all heard, and just a great sort of pinpoint on the civil rights movement of, how far we've come, but how far we still have yet to go.
Yeah, I applaud her. I mean, I love that she stood her ground. I wish that it was more like, I wish we weren't regressing in that area of things. I mean, we got to see that through this nightmare of a year, but kudos, Rosa Parks, kudos.
Yep. Moving on, this day in 1957, ooh-wee ooh, we all look like Buddy Holly. Well, Buddy Holly, Sam Cooke, and the Crickets debut on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Now I get why the ooh. Now I get that. First I'm like, ooh. Oopty ooh. Oopty ooh. Oopty ooh.
It was just
you're going all
filler.
Bud Kilmer on me, man.
They couldn't think of any lyrics to fill that space, so they just went with the...
Yeah.
Speaking of somebody...
Some of those songs are the best.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Speaking of people who did exactly that, I had no idea that this happened to them, but this day in 1960, Paul McCartney and Pete Best are arrested, then deported from Hamburg, Germany for accusations of attempted arson. Who knew that a Beatle was an arsonist?
Yeah, never. That's the first time I've ever heard of that. He actually got arrested? He seems like a perfect role model. I got an idea.
I could see
I'm
him.
going to put out my joint in the grass. Let's burn down this place.
I could see him getting arrested for drugs, but attempted arson.
It's a good idea.
This day in 1976, the Sex Pistols, using profanity on TV, gets them branded as rotten punks. Well, what do you expect?
Well, wasn't one of them Johnny Rotten?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... Now, did he take the name Johnny Rotten based off that label? Does it say?
It does not say, so I cannot answer
No.
that.
Were they singing Anarchy in the UK? And
Maybe.
then at the end, F and destroy!
And then finally, this day in history, this day in 1984, Beverly Hills Cop, directed by Martin Brest and starring Eddie Murphy and Judge Reinhold, premieres in Los Angeles. Still one of the best buddy comedies out there.
Okay.
And then we will leave the day with some holidays for today.
Holidays.
No celebrate?
Celebrate?
There you go. All
No,
right.
I was going to wait till you read the first one and then chimed in with the celebrate.
I don't know where they come up with some of these, but today is Bifocals at the Monitor Liberation Day. Okay.
Oh, that sounds like a hell of a day to call out, kids.
Today is Day Without Art Day. Why?
Yeah, well, there'll be no art today.
Eat a red apple day. Okay. Apples are
I
good.
can get down with that.
National Pie Day. Hey, kill two birds with one stone and have an apple pie.
I love pie.
Today is National Christmas Lights Day. It is.
Ooh, I like Christmas lights. They're fun. They're
Yeah,
colorful.
they are. It is Giving Tuesday. Obviously, we mentioned that before, where people are encouraged to give back to nonprofits and charities. It is National Rosa Parks Day, obviously, celebrating what she gave to the world. And it is World Trick Shot Day. So get out those basketballs and attempt those trick shots, folks.
Nathan Peterman, where are you?
That does it for today's show. When we come back tomorrow, it is a brand new Wednesday show. As we do on Wednesdays, we've got Words Are Hard. Enjoy your Tuesday. We'll see you all tomorrow. You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at Fenix Media.